I'm Grant.
Welcome to No Enemies Here, the show where, surprisingly, you go to the liquor store, we call this the SAQ, and you find yourself a nice, it just so happens, because it's never there, you find a nice bottle of Lagavulin, 8 years old, and look at that. Put a bit of water in it. Nice and smoky, but not too smoky. Just a little rich, but it's oily and salty. What a beautiful scotch. I mean, come on, people. Anyways, thanks for showing up. I got a story today. And it's a story that almost made the tears shoot out of my eyes, okay? So anyways, where I work in palliative care, in the kitchen, right? But it's in palliative care. Someone bumped me because it's a union thing. So someone bumped me from my post where I work close to my house, and I just a little bit further, there was an opening. So they shipped me there for a couple of days. And it's okay, man, it's okay. And anyways, working with these two nice ladies, well, three nice ladies, but two really exceptional women. And anyways, in this place, it's more quaint. Not as big as the one I was working in, so it's more quaint. People are more personable. There's less. The people who take care of the older folks, there's less assholes, because there's some people that are just incredible. I mean, I don't know why they work in that job. You know what I mean? You have to take care of someone who's basically disabled. You know what I mean? And they're older people, and you gotta give them that respect. And sure, I understand that they're working with them every single day, and it's like it could grate on you, but you can tell a person who's having a bad day and a person who doesn't really give a hoot. Anyways, so I see this guy. He's about 60-something years old, and he's really able, and he's in the garden taking care of the front flowers, you know. His name is George. Happens to be my dad's name. And what's the story with George? He's able. Like, what's he doing here? You know what I mean? He's like, this guy's, nothing's wrong with him. Like, nothing. Anyways, something must be wrong with him here, right? So I asked one of the girls at the, in the kitchen, I said, hey, Jeanette. Love that name, Jeanette. Huh? It's like Gino, but with an et. Jeanette. So I say, Jeanette, what's up with this guy, George? Oh, he lives here. What do you mean he lives here? This is an old folks home. You can't just live here. There's spaces allotted for people with disabilities, and you know what I mean? Older folks. And he says, yeah, he lives here because his wife is here. And I'm like, what do you mean his wife is here? He lives here. What's going on? Yeah, his wife came in and she has, I don't know, heavy multiple sclerosis. And so they sold their house and she had to be placed in there. So I don't know how he fandangled this, but he lives there with her in a separate room, because you're not allowed two people in a room in this place. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This guy sold his house to live with his disabled wife in an old folks home? And she's like, yeah. I mean, seriously, you want to make a movie? This is the type of movie to make. This is real life. I couldn't believe it that this guy, fully able and functional, sold his house, gave up what he had, but you know what? He didn't give up nothing. He is with his wife who he loves, and this is true love, man. I mean, love is a understatement. These are dolphins, you know what I'm saying? They're elephants. They stay with their mate till they die, and then they mourn and mourn and mourn. I mean, you know what I'm trying to get at. This is undescribable, unwordable, and I was blown away that this man gave up his, I'm just saying, when I say gave up his material wealth, which is nothing, I know, but I'm just saying, he gave up his material wealth to move into an old folks home. You should see these people there's dementia all over the place. They're crying, screaming, and all that. He lives there, man. He gets served the same food that the residents get served, which is not bad food, but I'm just saying, this guy, he's not having a steak, you know, like a sirloin steak or a porterhouse, whatever you want to call it in the States, with a bottle of wine every night or whatever. This guy lives in the old folks home because his wife is there. And you know what? If it ever happens that my wife falls ill, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, without question. Me, on the other hand, if I fall ill, blow my brains out. That's it, because I don't want my wife to go through that. And go through that. It's not like you're going through that. I would do it voluntarily, no problem. And I don't want to put that burden on anybody else. Maybe if they would feel the same way as I do, I just don't want that. But anyways, so I go speak to this guy, George. I go, hey, George, what's up, man? And he sees my Hexes and Soldiers t-shirt from the channel, Hexes and Soldiers. And he says, what is that, Hexes and Soldiers? I used to be in the army. I was a helicopter mechanic. And I'm like, no kidding. Blah, blah, blah. I have a YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. My friend CARROLL AH64, blah, 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 blah. Cobra, blah, 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 blah. Start shooting a poop. And this guy, George, turns out to be like a super guy, which it even breaks my heart even more. A really humble guy. And I'm like, wow, man, so you were in the army or the Air Force? He was in the army in Britain, in England, and he was a mechanic for the Bell helicopters. And I don't know if Hueys were Bells. I don't know, but anyways. And so I said, hey, George, do you play any war games? And he's like, nah. So he probably didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So I said, you know, George, I'll bring you one. I'll give you a war game. You know, I'll bring you one. I didn't say give. I just, you know, because I see the guy's proud. And he's after a while is like, okay, I'll take a look at it. You know what I mean? And that's his way of being humble, you know, and it's really cool. English guy. And I'm blown away. That's what happened to me today. Today, that's what happened to me. Man, life, eh? It's just incredible. These are the good moments. So I don't know what game I'm going to bring him. I don't know if I'm going to bring him a DVG game or a decision game, but it's going to have to be solitaire because he's got nobody to play with over there, and I don't know if he's going to want to play. First of all, you can't play with anybody over there. And it's like 20 minutes away from my house, which isn't very far, but I don't have the time to go and play. You never know what's going to happen. Anyways, welcome to No Enemies Here. I just ranted, but it was a fun rant. And we got Kilroy in the house, believe it or not. Hey, we're blessed. Kilroy's in the house. You know what I'm saying? Pop the champagne, let the pigeons loose, do stuff like that. Kilroy's in the house. Also, Wojennik's in the house. I'm glad he's back. Dave, I haven't heard anything. He has baby stuff to do. And Ricardo, well, he's on a break. Yeah? Ricardo is a gem, a rare gem. You know, unlike Kilroy and Joshin. So, look, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to get working, and it's late, and it's going to be later when I do my exit. So, ladies and gentlemen, salute, and have a good show, okay?
You don't know who I am, but I know who you are, and precisely what you want. You see, I have a very particular set of skills. One is knowing a great war game when I see one. Point Blank V is for Victory is one of them. A tactical squad-level card war game, designed by Sean Drulinger, and published by Lock and Load Publishing. Order Point Blank V is for Victory today. If you don't, you will regret it. I will look for you, and I will find you. So order now, and avoid any unpleasantries. You can find Point Blank V is for Victory at store.lnlpublishing.com. Order it today. Supplies are limited, and make sure to tell them Liam sent you.
Let's get on with the real news. Dad versus son. Look at this guy. He's got 12 videos out. I'm speechless. Dad versus son with 12 videos out, all of them on Combat, a game by Compass Games, wherein he plays scenario 14 the whole way through, turns 4B through part 10. And this is Defend the CP. CP. Quarterback Pride. Hey, it's Quarterback Pride. It's with a Q. CP. Defend the cat's poop. I don't know what. Look, what can I tell you? All this on Dad versus Son. You could tell I'm in a squirrely mood, eh? Dave's Gaming Cave. 2 videos out. This is Dave Thompson's Lazarus Ridge Attach. He spelt attach, but it meant to be attack. Why do I know that? Because it's on the other video. But I read him as it is live. Phase 1 and Phase 2. All this on Dave's Gaming Cave. On Diagonal Moves, 2 videos out this week. The Battle of Midway. It says here, Kobe Toys, board games, and the finale of Battle of Midway. All this on Diagonal Moves. The Dragon Man. Museum tours all weekend. His museum tours are open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting at 10 for a 2-hour tour. Look, if I was there, for sure I'd go see this guy. I mean, seriously, Dragon Man. I think he's in Colorado Springs. Relax, watch Flick Vault, Inside Out, or Eavesdrop. Look at the woman on Eavesdrop, her face. Eek. And Gamer's Closet, Mastermind, review and how to play. Remember that game Mastermind? Well, you can watch him play it. Yep, I know. All the fun in the world. On Geek Gamers, GG, 2 videos this week. 4 Against Darkness, help her out, she says, and Wanderhome, or should I say Wanderhome RPG. Timmy of Hairbrain Games has 4 videos out and sporting a fashionable beard, I see. Hairbrain Games reviews War of the Ring. Then he gives you another video of Weekend Games and Test of Faith, unboxing a game by Compass Games and a GMT game called Great Battles of Caesar. This is an unboxing. Ben Harsh of Harsh Rules, he's demo unboxing War of the Ring, the card game. Aris Games sent him a demo copy of War of the Rings, the card game, to check out and show you guys. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Please note, the demo version of this game is not a final production copy. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We all know that, but still, very interesting. Ben Harsh of Harsh Rules. Hex to Hex has tactical combat system Point Fire. He's using Bloody Omaha Multiman Publishing 1991. Hexed and Countered. 2 videos this week. The Long Road Fatherland Expansion Scenario number 1 and Pro Strategy Football 2023 Season Play Setup and Gameplay Example. You see, people play sports games. It's cool, man. War is a sport. You know what I'm saying? Hexes and Soldiers. The t-shirt that started this whole conversation rant at the beginning has 2 videos out this week, I should say. Yeah, actually 2. Plan Seto, Part 2, he says. And Plan Seto, Turn 2, Summary. So basically, he's playing Part 2, then he's giving you a summary of Part 2. Hey, AJ Toynbee, the historian. I read French and speak it. Capiche? The great channel that is History Hustle. What happened to the Italian soldiers abroad after the armistice of 1940-42? I'll tell you what happened. They got a job in a restaurant and they made pasta. I'm Italian. My favorite Frenchie.
Oh putain!
Fred Serval of Homo Ludens. 2 videos this week. Warriors of God, a collective review podcast, and Consum Game Jam number 2, results and debrief. Check it out. This is a create a game and get it published. That's all. You know, easy peasy lemon squeezy. ID Jester. Look at Kurt. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18 videos out this week alone from ID Jester. He plays Aeon's End Legacy of Gravehold. I have the Legacy game, but I don't know if it's that. Then there's the War Room with Blue Tweezers and Rough Swordsman Wargamer. And Board Gaming with Herm number 9. Herm Lutman. You know what I'm saying? He's trudging through, man. And Kurt does Sunday Night Arkham Horror, Terraforming Mars, Nations with Dynasties, Sleeping Gods. He's all over the place. All this week on ID Jester. Invicta Channel. What armor did Roman cataphracts use? You want to know. You know, you're a miniature painter, you want to know. What if Julius Caesar was not assassinated? You know, these videos of what if, Stipale, what if, what can I tell you? You can what if anything. And the man who goes by the name of Jeff. 4 videos this week. Star of Akarios. Those are 4 videos. Playthrough part 8, 9, 10, and 11. On. Respect! Jim Ozarski, 3 videos this week. The Battle of Caterabra for La Salle 2. Also, the Battle of Borodino for Bluka, and the Battle of Utitsa for Shackles on Jim Ozarski. And on the Minister, that is Joel Toppin, looking at a Mike Bertuccelli game called Wolfpack, which looks really cool. Wolfpack sneak peek number 1, Torpedo Attack. That's new on the P500 at GMT. And for our Spanish listeners and watchers, Julius Fairfax checks out Draco Ideas and Esparta. I don't know what Esparta means, but that's Julius Fairfax. Also, Justagard, 3 videos. New arrival, the Battle for Dresden, 1813, and Napoleon at Leipzig. Grand Campaign Part 2, and the new arrival, 1914, Nacht, Paris, from VUCA Simulations on Justagard this week. KilRoyWasHere, 6 videos. Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturdays, Crystal Clan's After Action Report, and Briefing, I'm assuming, and Coffee with Kilroy, Assault on Vimy Ridge, a solitary game by Mike Lambo. I checked that out. Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, Enemy at the Gates by Lock and Load Publishing. This is an expansion for Bitter Harvest, I should say. And again, with his favorite beverage, Coffee with Kilroy, U-Boat Captain Solitaire World War II by Gary Graber of Minden Games. In 1979, Revolution in Iran, Dietz, I guess that is the publisher, an unboxing. And again, I watched this, Coffee with Kilroy, Panzer Shrek, issue number 19. You know what? These are cool little things I want to have. But, you know, sometimes the price, it rips me apart. I don't have the cash for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Legendary Tactics, that wonderful channel that let me use 2 of their videos split up in 4, 2 each, which lasted a month, and it was fantastic. I suggest you go check out Legendary Tactics. 5 videos out this week. 6, I should say. No Retreat, the Russian Front, best game ever. Carol Paradzi designer, GMT publisher. Clue, the board game movie, remake of 1985. I didn't even know there was a movie. It's a remake. Whatever. And Android Netrunner. I played that game. I didn't quite get the nuances. I didn't play it long enough to get the nuances. But it's a computer hacking, this and that, and barang, the company corporate versus a hacker, and you know. Also, Introduction to Blitz Diplomacy. There's a cow for you. I love cows. Naval War, how to play Avalon Hill's card game, and Kingmaker. Had a video game version? I don't know. Let's play history with Jan Heinemann for our German viewers. He's got 6 videos all in German. If I start saying what I want to say or what I want to read, he's going to kill me. So there's 6 videos, Rifles in the Peninsula, and Field of Glory 2, all in German, at Jan Heinemann's Let's Play History. Lion Filmworks, look, watch 3 videos. First Strike, The Battle for McHenry, it's a reenactment retro version, and America's Special Forces, The Rise of Delta Force. Delta what? Who? You know what I'm saying? On Little Wars TV, 9-player Pyrrhic War campaign, turn 5. And another video called The Pyrrhic War is Over. What's next? Little Wars TV. Marco Omni Gamer, On to Moscow, Solitaire Review. This is a Worthington Publishing book game. I said this was going to be hot, and it's hot. Check out Kilroy's channel. Don't listen to Wayne Hansen. Don't! He's a cop. He's a bad cop. I don't know what kind of a cop he is. The vampire that is Mark Felton Productions. Mark Felton has 3 videos out. The D-Day Firefighter, Strangest Operation. Also, Queen Elizabeth II's Private Car Collection. And American Trader, The Axis Sally Story. Yeah, you're hearing ding, ding, ding. That's Robert Carroll busting my chops as I'm making this video on this damn slow computer, and I'm having a hard time. I'm gonna be up all night. You know what I'm saying? And my video's supposed to come out at 12 o'clock. I just came back from work, and I'm doing this vid. You know what I'm saying? And he's busting my chops. Huh? That's all. Mauro Faina's back with Johnny Zeronero. 12 videos. A lot of them on the Salerno 43, the Mark Simonich game, published by GMT on Mauro Faina for our Italian listeners. Mo of Mo's Game Table has 3 videos out. Sparta, Struggle for Greece, from Plague Island Games. Also, there's episode 43 of Whiskey Charlie, and Freezing Inferno from Princip Games, a prototype. I think Princip Games are from Serbia. All this on Mo's Game Table. On My Own Worst Enemy, 2 videos out. Gameplay, Assault Red Horizon 41, turn 6, and unboxing Champion Hill. This looks like an MMP game. Pushing Cardboard, 2 videos out. Crossing the Line, an unboxing, a game by VUCA Simulations, and Death of an Army review. Sounds bleak. Remember World War II, surrounded by the enemy. This World War II soldier was taken hostage. Also, when American soldiers shot unarmed German POWs. GEEK. The Professor, Riccardo Mazzini. His War Log, Flashpoint, South China Seas, a game by Harold Buchanan in English, and Una Serata con Uwe Valentine. History of the ... Check it out on our multicultural channel. Seek Out and Play has 2 videos out. Orange Swan Global Campaigns by, looks to me like a Vento Nuovo game, and Warfighter Korean War UN expansion. All this on Seek Out and Play. Simple History has 1 video out. I know you're seeing 2. The Prisoner Who Used Fake Heads to Escape Alcatraz. You know what I'm saying? Smart War Games has 12 videos out. You could choose from Warhammer, Winter Thunder, Valor and Victory, Russo-German War Modification, Easy Red 2, Stalingrad, released all this on Steam and on Smart War Games. Solo Board Gaming has Heroes of Stalingrad free battle mode setup. Heroes of Stalingrad is like what's that that video with Donald Sutherland and Clint Eastwood, Kelly's Heroes. That's the type of game it is. Stephen Dolges has 5 videos out. The Korean War, End of an Empire, an introduction, and End of an Empire, 3 videos of that, and War, Chickasaw War, should say Queen Anne's War, Chickasaw Wars, and War of Jenkins' Ear.
In 1966, a young 22-year-old man by the name of James Dunnigan penned an article in the General that criticized the historical accuracy of the popular game Battle of the Bulge. Tom Shaw, in response to the article, challenged Dunnigan to design his own war game. So he did. Dunnigan came onto the scene with a splash in 1967 with the interesting and innovative game Jutland, which was the only new game released that year. Jutland is a game that was very heavily influenced by miniatures gaming. There is no map board. Ships are moved around on any flat surface, preferably 20 square feet in size, using range and movement gauges. It is a unique and complex design which sacrifices playability to historical accuracy, often resulting in games lasting 6 hours or more. It initially sold well, though the company mailbox was overwhelmed with rule questions as gamers grappled with the innovative system. It was discontinued after a few years when the excitement died down. Randy Reed then made some minor changes to the rulebook and added 3 short scenarios when the game was reintroduced in 1974 with a new edition. The changes had mixed reactions. Again, initial sales were good, but the game faded in popularity as the 70s went on. Dunnigan would later go on to create the board game company known as SPI, which would rise to become Avalon Hill's most direct competitor, but more on that later. 1968 again saw some experimentation. Avalon Hill released 2 religious games, Year of the Lord and Journeys of St. Paul, by designer Reverend Eugene Doherty. Year of the Lord is more or less a roll-and-move race game where players have to land on certain religious holidays throughout the year on the outer track, after which they move on to an inner Days of the Saints track, whereupon it becomes a straight-up race to the finish. It was designed ostensibly to teach players about saints and the days of the Christian liturgical calendar. Journeys of St. Paul involve players rolling and moving to collect epistles around the Mediterranean, and then racing to Rome with them. It's one of those games where one has to land on the final space by exact dice count, one of the world's most annoying catch-up mechanics. However, this experiment ended up in a worse failure than the attempted introduction of children's games in 1963. The stock sat around for 3 years and was given away to local clergy on the condition that they had to take them away in lots of 500 or more at a time. Luckily, a new wargame shored up those business losses. 1914, another James Dunnigan design, and the second for Avalon Hill, was a sales success, despite it generally being viewed as not being a great game. 1914 simulated, at the core level, the opening phase of World War I, where the Germans moved through Belgium to attack the French and British on the other side. Despite some innovations, it suffered from incomplete rules, despite having a 34-page rulebook, high counter density, and a monstrous, unplayable map board. The game was famously not that fun to play, and the company discontinued it in 1973 despite reasonably good sales numbers, as they were concerned about the impact the game might have on customers in the long term. And this is Avalon Hill's official line on the game, as printed in the General. But seeing as Dunnigan was now their biggest competitor, that may have had something to do with it. 1914 was also an important game historically, as it was perhaps the first game, with the possible exception of Jutland, that really focused on historical accuracy over playability, a balance that became central to the hobby as the years went on, with long-reaching consequences. 1969 had a range of new releases, though only one wargame. Anzio was that wargame, designed by Dave Williams and purchased by Avalon Hill. Although the name might suggest otherwise, the game was not about the Battle of Anzio, but instead a strategic-level game about the entire Italian campaign in World War II, beginning in 1943. Though it was innovative in the way it handled step reduction combat and had a great map board by many accounts, sales were disappointing, as the rules were considered to be confusing, the counter density was high, the game tended to severely punish small mistakes, and the box was not very attractive. It was discontinued in 1971. One fan, however, named Tom Olson, saw the game's bright spots and did what he could to improve the rules and the gameplay, and helped in creating the new editions of 1974, 1978, and 1980. From a critical perspective, the reviews improved with each edition. Nicholas Palmer, in his book The Comprehensive Guide to Board Wargaming, commented on the long game times that ranged from 3 to 9 hours, but said the game was interesting, varied, and challenging, but not for the impatient. Olison, in assessing the game, mused that the best feature of Anzio may not be apparent in 1 or 2 playings. This is the satisfying realism with which a multi-unit battle is simulated. It's hard to think of a comparable game which does it better. Though he admitted that the worst aspects of the game are the inevitable long periods when, in faithful simulation of the campaign, little happens. Of the other games that year, the game called Choice by H. Goldschmidt was yet another attempt to enter the children's board game market. Choice intended to do just that, as it contained 6 randomized games in one. Some of them were familiar, like checkers and Chinese checkers, but most were original. It stuck around until 1972, after which Choice faded into history. C&O/B&O was Shaw's attempt to improve on Charles Roberts' game, Dispatcher. Players attempt to move more passengers and freight than the competition, all the while dealing with elements like floods, derailments, collisions, and mountain slides working against them. Although it was well received by railroad buffs, it was a failure as a game and as a seller. It also stayed in print until 1972. Tough by Peter Brett was a game based on mathematics that was well respected by educators, but didn't get much opportunity on store shelves. It involves rolling special dice and building intelligible math equations out of the results. Parentheses, decimals, powers, percentages, and even logarithms and complex numbers can be built in according to the player's ages and skill levels. Once someone had built an equation, that player calls out tough and starts a 3-minute timer. In response, when someone builds a longer equation within that time frame, that player calls out tougher and starts a 2-minute timer. This continues with a call of toughest and a 1-minute timer. After time runs out, each player scores their equation, with the player who was the toughest scoring double. This game was sold mainly to schools and school supply companies. Tough-A-Bet was a less successful version of Tough, which used vocabulary instead of math. There are 20 letter cubes utilized, along with the same tough, tougher, and toughest mechanic. The Avalon Hill Game Company started the 1970s with a bang. The wargaming hobby was now hitting its stride, and there were the sales to prove it. The 2 wargame releases of the year were big hits. The first big one is Panzerblitz, a landmark game which proved to be very influential over the years. It eventually sold around 300,000 copies and is said to be the second most played wargame of all time next to Axis and Allies. It was actually designed and packaged by rival James Dunnigan's company SPI and given to Avalon Hill on a royalty basis. It was the end point of an evolution that began with an earlier SPI experimental game called TAC Force 3, and an early smaller version had been published in 1970 in the board game magazine Strategy and Tactics. The game was set in the Eastern Front in World War II and pitted German platoons against Russian battalions in various situations and missions. Panzerblitz was very innovative. It was the first commercial wargame to bring the scale of the warfare down from the strategic to the tactical. In other words, the skirmishes were small in scale, not on the grand strategic level of full armies that gamers were used to. It was one of the first games to contain multiple scenarios, as opposed to just one battle that you fought every time you opened the box, and even contained rules on how to design your own. It also had geomorphic map boards, which meant that the map boards fit together any which way, leading to a wide variety of possible terrain. Even though it was relatively simple to learn and play, there were some problems with the design. One was what they called the Panzerbusch syndrome, where, because of the turn-based I go, you go system, units could move from hiding place to hiding place on their turn without the enemy having a chance to shoot, even though the moving units may have strolled into the open right in front of them. This was fixed in later iterations of the game by introducing a concept called opportunity fire. The other main problem was the ahistorical use of trucks, which were more expendable than they would otherwise have been in reality, and so they were used as spotters and as roadblocks and in other creative ways. But these were correctable and did nothing to dull the enthusiasm for an amazing and groundbreaking game. The second big one released this year was Kriegspiel, which simply translates as wargame, in which Shaw attempted to integrate the Matrix from his own football strategy game into a wargame. Avalon Hill described it thus: "If you think you have what it takes to run a war, we present Kriegspiel, an extension of chess. The knights, the bishops, the castles, the pawns become units of infantry, armor, special forces, and mechanized troops. Here you command actual military forces in a modern setting. Your decisions alone determine each game's outcome. Kriegspiel contains no chance elements whatever. No dice, no chance cards, no spinners. It employs logic, tactics, strategy, the science of human behavior." Interestingly, despite having been around almost 2 decades, the games of this time were still being compared to chess. Kriegspiel was reportedly thrown together at the last minute when James Dunnigan could not meet a deadline for a release, and it shows, unfortunately. It was not received well by the critics, though it sold 86,000 copies before it was discontinued in 1979. Even the Avalon Hill Company history from 1983 says that it is a game setting the state-of-the-art back 5 years. Even though it included interesting rules like invasions, weather, prisoners, supply, and an interesting diplomacy rule, the small scale of the game meant that it was over before any long-term plans could come to fruition. It was also the first Avalon Hill game to use the bookcase-style box that came in dimensions closer to a large book, and it allowed it to be stored easily on a bookshelf, unlike the wide flat boxes that had come before. In the end, the game was far too simple for experienced gamers and not great as an introductory game. In any case, the Matrix combat system, the heart of the game, didn't work well, as it felt a little bit too much like a fancy rock, paper, scissors. By this time though, Shaw was moving into the hobby's business end and was less interested in keeping up with the latest and greatest in game design. He moved on to the marketing side of things from then on. He had one other design that year though, Stock Market, which got some accolades from Chicago Today magazine, though it was only in print for 1 year. In this game, players buy and sell 5 different types of stocks, and whoever ends up with the most money wins. Stock splits, stock conversions, margin buying, and short selling are all present here. It is a fun game, although arguably not realistic in a few ways, not least that there can only be one winner, and that winner is likely the one taking the biggest risks. No points if you managed your portfolio well and grew it by careful and prudent management. It's all or nothing. And with that, the 70s were well underway. Disco and Leisure Suits sat alongside the newest game releases from the great board game company from Baltimore. Avalon Hill was established and moving into its prime business years, but there were still some changes and challenges ahead. Thank you for watching part 2 of the history of Avalon Hill. If you enjoyed this, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe down below. This is Legendary Tactics.
Hello everyone, this is Michel Wojtek from the Polish YouTube channel Wojennik TV. As always, here is my weekly roundup of the content published on Wojennik TV during the last 7 days. Last Sunday I released an interview. This was an interview with Mr. Zbigniew Kasprzak. Zbigniew Kasprzak is an artist, an illustrator, who in the late 80s and early 90s worked on the graphics of the games, of the war games released by the legendary Polish company Dragon. So he was responsible for all those magnificent box covers of the war games published at that time. I really wanted to talk to Mr. Zbigniew from some time, and I finally managed to. That was an extremely interesting conversation. I really enjoyed it a lot. We spoke not only about the war games that he illustrated, but also about his other work. He is an illustrator. He worked on several comic book series, so he's an extremely interesting and also a very good artist. So if you're interested in taking a look at how he looks and how some of his works look, you can take a look at this interview. Obviously it was made in Polish, but on Tuesday, an English video was released on Wojennik TV, and this was the review of Enemy Coast Ahead, the Dumbbuster Raid, a game released by GMT Games some years ago, which is covering Operation Chastise, launched in 1943, which was meant to knock down the entire German energy sector in the Ruhr region. It was designed as a RAF mission meant to hit and to breach several dams located in the Ruhr region in Germany, which was supposed to stop, to flood some areas, to destroy some energy plants, to block energy supply to German industry in the Ruhr region. Although the British managed to breach some of the targets, it was not such a spectacular success that some expected it to be. Having said that, it's an extremely interesting solitaire aerial war game. I covered this game both during a Polish review, a playthrough in Polish. Now it was the time to release the English version of the review of this game. The last wargaming video related during the last 7 days was the unboxing of Commands and Colors Napoleonic, the Austrian Army. I have opened the box with this game 2 years ago, I believe. It was the oldest video still awaiting to be published. Now here it is. Since its recording, I have played several scenarios coming from this expansion, but it's only now that the video was released. This was the third expansion for the Commands and Colors Napoleonics series, which added the Austrian army. So thanks to this expansion, we can recreate some of the epic battles fought during the Napoleonic Wars between the French and the Austrian armies. And those were the 3 wargame related videos published on Wojennik TV during the last 7 days. Thank you a lot for listening to this very quick roundup. I wish you an excellent weekend, and as always, have a great gaming. See you next time.
the legend that is STUKAJOE has one video out this week, 1979, Revolution in Iran. And on a channel that I did not check out the heading, so there's Pacific War Battles #2 Coral Sea and Storage Solution Great Battles of History. That is a mystery channel for you to check out. Come here to get the dope. Cody of the Discriminating Gamer has 2 videos out. Warhammer Quest Lost Relics and Phalanx's Race to Moscow. The Dusted Game Shelf, 3 videos out. RPG Waffle, WOTC, drop the ball on the Hadozi. I don't know. Next, Waffle, Minimax groups numbers for meetups and keep Dungeons and Dragons pen and paper. This on the Dusted Game Shelf. On my alternate channel, my alter ego, where I smoke pipes and all that, I have the Master Blender, and I'm honored to have a Master Blender, Russ Willett, who lives in Philadelphia right now, or I should say Pennsylvania, I don't know, probably Philadelphia. And Russ is one of the world's greatest tobacco blenders. There is such a thing. The palate that he has is unbelievable. As a cook and as a sommelier for pipe blends, whether you're a pipe smoker or not, this is not like cigarettes. And I would say not even like cigars, though he enjoys cigars. Pipe blends are way more complex. So, check me out on the Fokker Circus Pipe News, where I speak with Russ Willett, on 5 blends, and he dissects them. This is not a critique, this is a dissection. On the Fokker Circus. Nepotism. The Horror Geek, 2 videos out, Jack-O-Lantern, Quigley takes another long shower. And one of the most underrated horror films on Sick Flicks. Tells you what I do, sometimes. On the Oaken Night, the PBS of No Enemies Here, a victory awaits. Overview, a game by MMP. I should say game published by MMP. And the gentlemen that are the Player's Aid have 4 videos out. An unboxing Almoravid from GMT Games. This is a game designed by Volko Runke. Also, another WBC 2022 interview with Evan Walter, designer. And Mark Herman's Spotlight monthly debrief, and another interview at WBC with Jonathan Miller. Also, don't forget to watch everything you want to know about war games but were afraid to ask. We had Carl Creator on from the War Game Bootcamp. It was a hootenanny of a time. We always have a hootenanny of a time on everything you want to know about war games but were afraid to ask. This is where we can basically take off our boots and relax and just have a good time with our guests, whether we have one or not, and our the peanut gallery. What do you call those guys? The commentators, the people who show up for the show and comment. For God's sakes, I can't even remember that. Call them the peanut gallery. GIMPY of the GIMPY Gamer has 3 videos out. Sellers Walking the Line. Also Donnerschlag, example of play. And Whiskey Charlie, not channel. It's just this is beginning to be a heavy episode. Trust me, I'm working for it, man. And the computer is heavy, and Robert Carroll's busting my chops. On Tony of Tony's Board Life 5 videos, Keep Up the Fire Part 2, Lock and Load Heroes of the Bitter Harvest scenario. Far from, and he doesn't say. Also, Panzer Grenadiers of Lakia's War, First Battle Turn 5. Fields of Fire. This is a game I'm going to get into, and I'm going to get into it heavy. Fields of Fire Korea, or Nakdong River, mission number 1, attempt number 2, and an unboxing also of Heroes of Normandy, Big Red 1 edition on Tony's Board Life. U-Boater 658 has 4 videos. U-Boater 658 channel background future games, another Case Guild T1114 What If Play to the End epilogue, and Traveler Companion episode number 8 Strange New Worlds. Also TLNB The Highway to Brussels. Now, Napoleon's Last Gamble expansions number 1 and 2 on U-Boater 658. He only has 124 subscribers, and he puts out a lot of videos and some really, really wicked videos. Give this guy some subscribing love. Come on, for God's sakes. War Stories has 3 videos. The Mysterious Life of Hitler's Right-Hand Man, Rudolf Hess. Also, Hitler's Final Offensive, The Battle of the Bulge. You know, Jesus, 600,000 men. Unbelievable. Also, Operation Stalemate 2, The Battle of Bloody Nose Ridge. These are heavy videos, man. Wardy Road plays World War II, getting ready for MMP It Never Snows. Also, It Never Snows McMurray and Wardrobe Turn 2, and Market Garden Scenario 3 update It Never Snows. This is huge. Huge. I mean, really. You gotta check it out. Wardy Road plays World War II.
Hello all! Today, Kilroy goes off the shelf and onto his computer. Well, his computer screen, for that matter. Well, I have some news today. That is, I've finally reached 1,000 subscribers. Imagine that. And there are several people I need to thank, and even more that I'll probably unintentionally forget. But let's start with some of my initial inspirations. People like STUKAJOE, who is a leader and pillar in our small but passionate community. Gary from ARDWULF'S LAIR and the Player's Aid. The Whiskey Charlie Game, which includes Kev from the Big Board and the GIMPY Gamer. And especially Mo from Mo's Gaming Table, who has been a source of encouragement. Barebones Wargaming, Marco War, Omni Gamer, Drive Through Review, and yes, even the Dice Tower. I do play games other than war games. I know, heresy. The publishers and designers have supported me with review copy of 2 like GMT, DVG, Lock and Load, Legion War Games, Worthington, Battle Space Games, VUCA Simulations, Pegasus Spiel, Mike Lambo, and Adam Mitchell, just to name a few. Thanks to Wayne Hansen, whose friendly rivalry has resulted in me being banned from his channel and temporary restraining orders being issued. Will culminate in a face-to-face confrontation, gaming session, at some point. Wayne, that's a promise, not a threat. Well, maybe a threat. I'd be remiss if I did not thank Dan from Knowing Me's Here, who encouraged me to explore new avenues and to keep plugging all along the way. Thank you, Dan, you pipe-smoking, helmet-wearing, finger-pointing, easily overexcitable Canuck. Most importantly, I want to thank all the subscribers. This has never been the mission, purpose, or end-game goal. I do this to share my thoughts and collection with like-minded folks and channel some of my passion back into the hobby. Some may consider subs a validation. I consider you friends, if not friends from afar. And some of you are very far indeed. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. But most importantly, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. Now get back to gaming.
Wise Guy History has 2 videos out opening moves for Empire of the Sun using Wargameroom ... and VUCA Simulations mystery unboxing. Let me guess. Sorry. World War II Indie Nidell's channel has 3 videos out. The Allies' latest victory. Also, Great Escape of World War II, or Great Escapes of World War II, and Italy switches sides in World War II. What do you want? The people didn't want to fight. Okay? Trust me. They're bon vivants. On World War II Solitaire Board Game channel, 6 videos out. An unboxing of Pegasus Bridge, Dice Tower, Heroes of Normandy, and Patton's Best playthrough, which is a game I love. Also, Heroes of Normandy Big Red One Edition, an unboxing. Episode 2 of Patton's Best, Heroes of Normandy Big Red One solo mode, and Episode 3 of Patton's Best, and I will check it out. And I don't know what the hell that thing on the right hand corner is that I have selected. Anyways, doesn't matter. Zilla Blitz, 3 videos out. Save South Vietnam War Game playthrough, 2 videos of that. And ETS2 top 10 reasons to play 66-hour long haul. You know, I checked out a YouTube video on why people play these games. It's meditation, it's chill. That's what I'm saying. On 3-minute board games, 2 videos out. Star Trek Ascendancy Faction Guide and Strategy Primer. Also, Anno 1800 in about 3 minutes. Trust me, he does it. He's good. Artie of ARDWULF'S Lair, 2 videos. He's slacking off. Unboxing Death in the Trenches 2nd edition, and counterclipping the best of game designers. Also, Back to the Table has favorite solo games. And you know what? This is a great family channel. Support Back to the Table, please. Bonding with board games and RPGs, The Chief reviews Assault Red Horizon 41, also Evil Twilight 2000, The Farm Compound Season 1, Episode 29, and Evil Twilight 2000 Season 1, Episode 30, Contact M3 Grease Gun. Box of Delights, I like that channel. So, Hoplomachus Victorium Parts 1, 2, and 3. This is what Box of Delights does. This guy is a pro, great voice. I used to watch him when I started watching board game channels on YouTube. And the man who is famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino, has one video out. Meat Cure. Castelli Reviews. This is another one of the channels I used to watch at first when I started getting into war games again, and I enjoy this guy. Twilight Struggle. Worst game, song, and comedy. They're not my words, he says. They're straight from BGG rating comments. So, check out Castelli. I like him quite a bit. Christopher Prest, my paisan from the south, does Der Weltkrieg. 6 videos out. So, TG 172 to 177. Man, he's into World War I. And last but not least, Combat Board Games, looking at Fleming, a World War II real-time journaling game. Journaling game? Yep, that's what it says. And that's it. So, let me say, hey, another week, another show. This has been a bit tedious because of my computer, but other than that, I trudge on because I like doing this stuff, man. And you know, I would go on more. And yeah, I'm tired. And yeah, Robert Carroll's busting my chops. You know, bleep, bleep, bleep. But I love the guy. Seriously, I love the guy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And subscribe to the other channels that you see here. It makes them happy. It's a small community. Let's get together, have fun. You know? And watch my pipe channel. You'll see what community is all about. You'll see these guys talking about how the YouTube pipe community are close-knit. Oh, sorry. I just had to yawn. I am tired. So, look. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm not an easy feller. But sometimes I am entertaining, eh? Anyways, be nice all the time. Good things are going to happen to you. Have a good weekend.